Good afternoon. My name is Dr. Doug Miller, and I have the privilege of serving as MCG's Vice Dean for Academic Affairs. And it is my honor to welcome you to the Hooding Ceremony for the 185th graduating class of the Medical College of Georgia at Augusta University. Please stand as the national anthem is played. Please be seated. Dean Hess, members of the faculty, honored guests, friends, family, and members of the class of 2021. The Hooding Ceremony of the 185th graduating class of the Medical College of Georgia is now in session. Just under 4 years ago, the class of 21 entered the Medical College of Georgia, the state's only public medical school and one of the 10 largest medical schools in this nation. They came to us from across Georgia and around the United States, their hearts and minds ready to begin a journey toward the profession of medicine. And in the words of one of my esteemed predecessors, Dr. Ree Fincher, it has been a marathon, not a sprint. Working individually and in teams, the class of 21 devoted themselves to our MCG missions, the mastery of medicine, the care of the sick, scientific discovery, and abiding concern for our diverse Georgia-wide communities. In the broadest sense, they have embraced the healing arts in the public interest. They have done us proud on all accounts, and today we recognize their sacrifice and effort by hooding them with the academic colors of their profession. Following their graduation today, they will go on to postgraduate residency training in 23 different specialties in 35 states. We are delighted that 31% of the class will stay right here in Georgia. And under the leadership of President Kiel and Dean Hess, we have a bold plan to increase that Georgia retention figure to more than 50% in coming years. Congratulations on this next big step in your life's journey. None of the MCG students present today could have made it to this point without grit and help. A debt of gratitude is owed to family and friends, to the parents who permitted you to provide care as you practiced and learned, and to the devoted MCG faculty, over 2,000 strong across Georgia, who have taught, mentored, encouraged, and supported you over the last 4 years. Please join me in thanking all of these contributors to your successful medical education. Please applaud. Thank you. The class of 2021 at the Medical College of Georgia, we are proud of you, and we have the utmost confidence that you will further the MCG tradition of excellence in your every pursuit. We would also like to extend special thanks to all those in the Office of Learner Affairs and Academic Affairs who have assisted in the planning of this joyous event despite a pandemic. Please also join me in acknowledging the members of the stage party and other distinguished guests and institutional administrators, including MCG leadership, Dean Hess, and the faculty. It is my pleasure to now introduce Dr. David C. Hess, our Dean, to deliver his message.
Thank you, Dr. Miller, and welcome. I want to congratulate all the new doctors, your MCG graduates, and I want you to turn around and thank your parents, your friends, your loved ones who helped get you here. Can you do that? And each other. Medicine is a noble vocation. It's a calling. It's not a job. Never forget that. You walk in the tracks of many MCG greats. The speaker is one of those. Milton Anthony, you all know about pandemics. Our founder died taking care of yellow fever victims in Augusta. That's how selfless he was. Paul McDonough, great reproductive endocrinologist, just died this week. Great person. They spent all their careers here. Bob Nesbitt. I don't know if Bob's here tonight. He's alive. These people now are alive. Bob Nesbitt, a great guy. Bill Strong, Joseph Hobbs, John Fisher, name a few. And then Lois Ellison, who died a few years ago, was another great example of somebody who's been there the whole career. Our retirees, they never fade away. They just keep teaching and teaching and teaching. And they love teaching students and dropping their clinical pearls. Medical school is incredibly hard. You're all very knowledgeable, and MCG is probably the best preparation for residency you can have. You will be far ahead of people from other schools. I hear that time and time again from people that have left. But it's character that will define you. Be worthy of the vocation of medicine and avoid the temptation of mercantilism. Some advice. Now, this is level 1 advice, then it's going to get a little more anecdotal, okay? When you become an intern, get to know the names of every nurse and unit clerk and the people who clean the rooms and housekeeping that you can. It's very important. That'll mean wonders to them. You'll learn a lot from them. Compliment them. Buy them lunch. You'll have enough money. You'll have a salary now. And your debt isn't too bad. You know, the tuition isn't here too bad. Even get to know public safety. You never know when you might lock your keys in a running car and your father may be at a meeting far from Augusta, right? And remember the law of the gift. For everything you give, you get it back tenfold. That's a true thing in life. Everything you give away, you get back more. Now here's where it gets a little more anecdotal. If you have the space and you have a dog walker, get a dog. This is really important. I've learned having a dog, preferably a large yellow one with floppy ears, a golden retriever, or a lab, or even a rescue dog. No matter how bad your day is, no matter how many things go wrong, your dog will love you and forgive you when you come home. It's extremely important. Also, I wouldn't watch cable news, but instead read great books. Read the Brothers Karamazov. I tell this to every medical student. And if 10% of you read it, I'll be successful. It's a great story because Dostoevsky was the master psychologist, and sick people are profound in that novel. And your sick patients, you will learn more from them than you'll learn from anybody. A sick person, they're desperate, they need you, and they have profound wisdom. And remember, the meek will inherit the earth. And lastly, and this is really Dr. Fisher's motto, be humble and grateful. That's really the key to happiness and joy. It's my pleasure now to introduce to you John Fisher, our speaker. Now, this was a landslide. The students vote on this. He won by a landslide, a true landslide. And I really want to read all this because I found out something that I went in a couple years ago to a meeting, and his son, Stuart Fisher, was there. And I said, that's great, your dad won the, I think it was an Educator of the Year award again. He said, what? He won the Educator of the Year award? Yeah, I said he wins it every year. He has like season tickets to the MCG Faculty Award Ceremony. He's there every year. He knew nothing about it. Nothing about it. So I think I better tell him and his family all the awards he wins. He's so humble, he doesn't even tell his family. John Fisher is a professor in the Medical College of Georgia, Department of Medicine, Section of Infectious Diseases. He earned his medical degree from the Medical College of Virginia, now VCU in Richmond, in 1969. After graduation, he began residency at the University of Cincinnati, which was interrupted by a commitment to the U.S. Navy, in which he served as a flight surgeon from 72 to 74. He then returned to the Medical College of Virginia to complete his internal medicine residency and infectious disease fellowship. As an internal medicine resident, here's where the award started, he received the William Harrison Higgins Award given to the medical resident who, quote, best typifies the warm personality, the ability to inspire confidence, unwavering dedication to internal medicine that were among the characteristics of Dr. Higgins. He also received the Best Fellow Award in each of the 2 years of his training, given by this graduating senior medical residents to the subspecialty fellow whom they regard as most contributing to their medical education. He is a member of AOA, a master of the American College of Physicians, and fellow of the Infectious Disease Society of America. He received his first Excellence in Teaching Award at MCG after his first year in the faculty in 1978. Now this is where it just gets astronomical. And if there was a Guinness Book for World Records, he'd be in it. Get this. In the 37 years since, he has received 67 additional teaching awards, of which his family doesn't appear to know of any. And 28 of which were Educator of the Year award. In 2005, he had the hat trick. He received Educator of the Year recognition award from the classes of 2005, 2006, 2007. He received the 2004 Leonard Tao Humanism in Medicine Award, and he was elected to the Gold Humanism Honor Society in 2011. I'm sure his face is getting red. He has been recognized regionally by the American College of Physicians for his educational skills with the annual J. Willis Hurst Teaching Award in 2005, and nationally the same year as the recipient of the Infectious Disease Society of America Clinical Teaching Award. In 2015, he received the ACP's Jane DeForge Excellence in Medical Education Award. He's been a faculty member here since 1977. He tried to leave for 6 years, but MCG pulled him back, and he's been here ever since. Most of you know he teaches doctoring. He's directed medical microbiology. He's the author of 61 original publications and refereed journals, mostly on fungal infections and candidiasis, and 44 book chapters. I call him the William Osler of MCG. And I'll never forget, I was having a hard day one time on the wards And I think, my stroke pain is, I didn't think I really did right by him. I think I could have done better, and I was just kind of groping, and John Fisher comes by, and he kind of knew I was down to the dumps. He says, come and talk to me sometime. And then he made some comment, which you hear time and time again. Do what you love, and you'll never work a day of your life. And that is so true. So, Dr. Fisher, it's our honor for you to speak to us.
Thank you, Dean Hess. That was just the way my mother wrote it, I think. Thank you. Faculty, colleagues, family, and friends of the class of 2021, I'm truly amazed and honored to have been chosen to speak to you on this grand occasion. So this is your moment, lads and lasses. This is one of those important moments that you have worked so hard for right now. Tomorrow, your mom or your dad will introduce you to people as, this is my daughter, Dr. Shep, or Dr. Talcott, or this is my son, Dr. Butler, or Dr. Worley. It'd be a proud month for your family during this honeymoon period, and it is a honeymoon period. When their friends ask your parents how they're doing, they will ever so subtly and casually mention the fact that they have just attended their son or daughter's medical school graduation. They're so proud of you. They can't help it. Please forgive them. I never could stop my own mom from introducing me as, this is my son, Dr. Fisher. I would imagine that my path to medicine was quite a bit different from yours. Thanks to my Irish Catholic mother, my early education was from the Good Sisters. I had mostly nuns for 12 years. And for the first 8 of those, I tried to keep on their good side because they were strict, they were bigger than I was, and they took no prisoners for bad behavior. I can see one episode so clearly now. We'll call her Sister Mary Inquisition. My 8th grade teacher, how she stormed down the aisle after one notorious smart aleck who in religion class was talking and laughing devilishly during the reading of a biblical passage in which the word bosom was mentioned. All I can say is she physically wore him out. But I thank most of those women in those medieval garments who were not cruel, had taken a vow of poverty, working for $50 a month and room and board. They dedicated themselves to the good Lord and to teaching us young people, and they demanded excellence. It was more of the same at St. Patrick High School, except for one other incident indelibly planted in my memory. During an English exam as a sophomore, Sister Melanie, that was actually her name, caught me with a piece of paper with answers on it, passed across the aisle by a classmate. I didn't even get time to read it before she stormed down the aisle, tore my exam paper in half, and gave me an F. I never did that again. That same year, as a sophomore in high school, our class was scheduled for elections to join various city administrators like the mayor, city attorney, police chief, city physician, and shadow their activities. Well, I ran for city physician, not because I was all that interested in medicine, but I admired my Uncle Bob, who was a pediatrician. That was probably my only reason. But I won. And I got to shadow this doctor, and it was pretty interesting. So after that, all my classmates, they assumed I wanted to be a doctor. I couldn't let them down. Nevertheless, the nuns had me ready for Notre Dame and pre-med. At Notre Dame, I got a dose of reality. 3 pink slips at midterm of my first semester. I either had to study harder or study better. Singing in the Notre Dame Glee Club and traveling all over the country helped me keep being me and studying better. Well, like they say in baseball, it was a close play at home, but the big umpire called me safe, and I got into medical school at the Medical College of Virginia in Richmond. Now, you might remember when we first met, I had you painstakingly write out your signature and put an MD behind it. I used to daydream about it and practice my signature over and over again when I was a student. And that's why I introduced it to you for your own daydreams 4 years ago. Well, tomorrow you can finally do that and mean it. Exciting, isn't it? But next month, after the honeymoon's over, you will begin to make a real contribution as a full-fledged doctor, your own personal contribution to your fellow person. And you're going to promise to make that contribution in the oath that you will take. That's what your job is. I'm going to ask you, will you really mean what you say in that oath, or will it be just a formality for the occasion? You know, your training will not only be about getting the next job, it'll be about contributing something which is uniquely you to the sick, the suffering, or even the worried well. If they are your focus, you will automatically impress people, especially your students, who will see you daily on their rotations. You can inspire them, if you want to be just like you. You can also turn them off completely. How they turn out is partly your responsibility. How seriously will you take that responsibility? And as for the next job, it'll come looking for you. And you'll likely land right where the good Lord wants you to land. And even more amazingly, somehow you did the choosing. It happened to me in 1977. I'm still around. I can't explain how that works. Can you? I've got, 4 things I'd like to talk to you about today. Number 1, digging deep. Number 2, going to the mat. Number 3, staying curious. And number 4, making time for yourself and your family. First, digging deep. You know, you have to dig deep inside yourself to take on all that's required of a doctor. Being on call and in clinics and ERs can be crazy. It's easy to get behind. I was on call every other night for 8 of the 12 months of my internship in Cincinnati. A few of the attendings believed that the only thing wrong with every other night call was that you missed half the workups. Yeah, right. There are a lot of interruptions. You get weary mentally and physically. One night, I was trying to dig deep. I hadn't gone to bed. It was 6 a.m. and the ER called me for my 13th admission and second patient with diabetic ketoacidosis. I found an empty room somewhere and I just cried from stress and weariness. The kind head nurse, Ms. Pauline Hyman, I'll never forget her, she found me in this room sort of crying. She gave me a pat on the back and told me it would be all right. And she was right, it was. And after all, compared to some people in this world, your yoke is actually easy, and your burden is light. Going to the mat. Go to the mat for your patients. Do everything you can for them, but especially for the ones who give you a hard time. I mean, anyone can work hard for attractive people who share your philosophy, or for people who are wealthy and influential, or celebrities of one sort or another. It would only be natural to try to impress them with the care that you give them, not neglecting the smallest detail in examining them, explaining what you think might be their problem at great length, following up on their progress as promised, contacting them by phone, and trying to stay connected to them forever. Let's face it, if somebody important were your patient, or even better, became your friend, you would relish in it. Admit it. What about the hostile, intoxicated man with a cough, bad teeth, and fetid breath? The homeless IV drug addict with a fever? The abusive parent with a screaming baby? How will you deal with them? Will you go to the mat for them? Don't they really deserve the same level of care that you gave to that member of the Augusta National? Just saying. Wherever you're headed next month, each of you has it in you to become chief resident by going to the mat for each of your patients without all the whining and complaining. How do you think these young physicians rose to chief resident and got that designation? But even if no one seems to recognize that you do always go to the mat for your patients, God does. Not a bad audience, that. Staying curious. Stay curious. Have the attitude of Sherlock Holmes, and you will avoid burnout because you're constantly trying to solve clinical puzzles, some of them quite fascinating. Remember, 70% of diagnoses are made from history. So don't stop inquiring about the patient's chief complaint until you understand it better than the patient does. That's the key to which system went afoul. Now, you don't have time, I realize, to do a world-class physical on every system of the body and every patient. But you do have time to do a world-class physical on the system which went afoul. I kind of think it's malpractice not to do that. Don't miss the carotid bruit in an elderly lady who's dizzy. Be determined to find that palpable spleen in a teenager with a sore throat. If you don't find it, maybe that spleen will rupture in a contact sport. Be hard to forgive yourself for missing that. And when you abbreviate within normal limits with a WNL, don't let it mean we never looked. If the problem is cough and shortness of breath in a person brought in after a motor vehicle accident, don't miss that hollow tympanitic percussion note of a pneumothorax, especially a tension pneumothorax. If they die, you may never get over it. Don't avoid that rectal or pelvic exam in a person with abdominal pain just because it's embarrassing or awkward, because it may give you the actual clue to what the diagnosis is. And have some fun with your chosen profession. Here's a game for you. See if you can predict what the chest X-ray, EKG, or labs will show after you've taken that great history and examined the patient. And have some fun with your students by making them do the same thing. Be aggressive but gentle at the same time with your physical exam. Look hard for something the patient with that history should have. That retinal lesion in a person whose vision has become blurry. That S3 gallop in someone who's short of breath. That axillary node in a woman with a lump in her breast. Find that faint murmur in a patient with a fever of unknown origin. Find that abdominal bruit and a pulsatile mass in an old man with back pain and thready pulses. And have the attitude of a doctor on a mission. For example, in an old man with iron deficiency, approach the patient mentally with this attitude. If you've got cancer in your colon, Mr. Smith, I'm going to find that mass in your abdomen. With that kind of attitude, not much gets by you, and it's so satisfying and invigorating when you make even little discoveries. It protects you against burnout. Make some time looking at the microscopy of body fluids, especially in a very sick patient when time is of the essence. The lab, for example, only has a few minutes to process a gram stain because they have so many. Take it from me, they do occasionally miss stuff. Look at the blood film of your anemic patients, yourself. Look at the blood film of a returned traveler with fever, yourself. You don't want the lab to call you up and tell you that your patient has malaria. You make the diagnosis and let the lab confirm it. So take ownership of each of your patients. After all, the buck should stop with you. And if you won't do it, someone else will take over, and down deep, you won't feel very good about it. And don't be only a computer report type of physician, reading some report off the computer screen and looking up the treatment on UpToDate. That's not fascinating. Doctors like that are headed for burnout. And when time permits, go to radiology or MRI and go over the images with the radiologist. Go to pathology and have the pathologist show you why your patient has cancer. Go over your leukemia patient's bone marrow with the hematologist. These are professors. Make them profess. Stay curious, and you'll be amazed at what you can find out and what you can learn. And keep track of some fascinating patient cases. Write them up when you have time. You can do this, Dr. Sherlock. And finally, make time for your family and yourself. Minimize daycare as much as you can. No one can love your kids the way you do. They are you in so many ways, and they will repay that love 100-fold. They might even want to live and raise their kids where you live, because they just love being around you and want to always be part of your life. Take it from me, you just turn around, they're grown and gone. Have dinner together as often as possible. Go to their performances and school events. Go to their games. They'll know you're there even without you yelling at the ref or the umpire. Read to them often, whether it's Dr. Seuss, Beatrix Potter, The Giving Tree, The Chronicles of Narnia, Grimm's Fairy Tales, or Treasure Island. It's okay if they fall asleep, and it's okay for you to get sleepy along with them. But they'll never forget that you used to do that with them. Keep being you by doing the activities you've always loved, whether it's biking or hiking, gardening, painting, hunting, fishing, dancing, playing golf, playing tennis, playing music, going to concerts, or even singing. This is an essential antidote for physician burnout. Oh, one more thing. I challenge each one of you to become intern of the year wherever you go to train. And you most likely will at least be one of the finalists if you have this attitude. Nobody can take better care of your patients than you do. Nobody recognizes the help of your nurses and nursing assistants more often than you do. Nobody acknowledges the help of ward clerks, lab techs, or even environmental services staff as frequently as you do. Remember, we're all in this thing together. Now, I have truly found that the rewards of taking care of patients and their families and teaching young people about them are just too numerous to count, and so will you. Allowing me to share some of my own thoughts and experiences with you on this great day has been very special for an old geezer like me, and I thank you. God bless, lads and lasses.
Thank you, Dr. Fisher, for those wise words of encouragement. During the next segment of our program, the awards segment, we have the opportunity to recognize several outstanding members of our faculty and senior class. I'll ask Dr. Tucker to begin the awards presentation. Dr. Tucker.
Thank you, Dr. Miller. The Physician's Physician Award is presented to graduating medical students who demonstrate the greatest aptitude for and devotion to the profession of medicine. This year, both campuses voted for the individual whom they would most likely seek out after appropriate training as a personal physician. The individuals chosen this year have demonstrated empathy, grace, and teamwork throughout their clinical training. It is my pleasure to welcome to the stage for this year's Physician's Physician Award, Zola Francis from the Augusta campus. The Athens campus recipient will be presented the award at their hooding ceremony on Saturday. Congratulations, Zola, and now we will make the presentations for Leonard Toe Award recipients. The Leonard Toe Humanism in Medicine Award recognizes the ideals of outstanding compassion in the delivery of care, respect for patients, their families, and healthcare colleagues, as well as demonstrated clinical excellence. This year, 2 students and 2 faculty members were selected to receive the award. The awards are sponsored by the Arnold P. Gold Foundation. It is my pleasure to welcome Seher Ali, Pamela Tipler, to the podium to receive these awards with our deepest congratulations. congratulations, and the recipients for the Athens campus will be announced at their hooding ceremony as well. And now I would like to welcome to the stage Dr. Falls and Dr. Martin to present the Excellence in Public Health Award.
In just 7 years, the Medical College of Georgia will celebrate its 200th birthday of our state's only public medical school. Having graduated thousands of students in our history, this year, one of your classmates has been recognized for her early contributions to medicine by the United States Public Health Service. The mission of the United States Public Health Service is to protect, promote, and advance the health and the safety of our nation. This award recognizes a medical student who has positively impacted public health in his or her community. She started working in women's health early in her own hometown and continued her work throughout medical school to serve the underserved, and as a result of her many years of study, mentorship, preparation, and just plain hard work, she has landed a position in the top residency program in the United States for obstetrics and gynecology, the University of California in San Francisco. We all know her by her $1 million smile, but for those who have not met her yet, her family hails from the small community in southwest Georgia, Crisp County. She started a peer-to-peer education group for high school girls to address teen pregnancy prevention across the state, the nation, and around the world, specifically in Peru and in Kenya. She has been active in various student-led projects here at MCG and at the AAMC, and captured the hearts of her many preceptors and her faculty both here at the main campus and on the Southeast Georgia regional campus. Her research in women's health has been nationally recognized, and now today, she receives the top award from the United States Public Health Service. So on behalf of the Surgeon General of the United States of America, we proudly present the 2021 United States Excellence in Public Health Service Award to our very own Bria Alexis Peacock.
Thank you, Dr. Falls and Dr. Martin. Congratulations to all the award winners. We now begin the formal hooding portion of the program, the reason we are here. I'd ask the hooders to prepare for the phase of the program, and we will begin momentarily.
Mona Abraham. Rabia Ahmad. Seher Ali. Griffin Allen. Haritha Arabindi. Sanaa Aslam. Adam Aston. Kristen Aites. Noor Awad. John Beck. Santul Bapat. Diksha Baral. Kirthana Bathala. Nicholas Blair. Chance Bloomer. Susan Brands. William Britt. Austin Brown. Blair Burton. Jennifer Butler. Julian Butler. Madison Canning. Masum Chinani. Upsana Chandra. Vipawi Chat. Brian Curry. Isha Dabke. Ryan Davey. Alec Davila. Sherman Devoud. Nathaniel Dillard. Sonal Dugar. Justin Damronkul Raska. Miriam Valish Vali. Kyle Dimonus. William Elick. Joseph Elphinstone. Zola Francis. Emily Gade. Maya Gibson. Julianne Gillis.
Congratulations, Julie.
Sarvani Jinjupali. Sean Go.
James Going. Okay. Abdul Mateen Hassan. Ka- Katrina Hazim. Ashlyn. Oh, wait, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Ashlyn Herman. Claudia Hernandez. Maite Hernandez Morales. Gaither Horde. Yes. Brandon Ho. Shelby Howard. Daniel Hubbard. Onyebuchi Arinze Kenechukwu Emunugo. Zolkar Islam. Ehiraman Iyoiha. Sadia Jamshade. Tiffany Javadi. Benjamin Johnson. Eric Juarez. Mega Kalia. Don Kim. Eileen Kim. Pierce Lane. John Latremoy.
Rachel Levy. Stephen Lewis. Annabelle Cartel. Kayla Look Loy. Michael Lopez. Victoria Madre. Kashif Malik. Joshua Manuel. Catherine Martin. Valerie McClure, and Vidya Nebitapalli. Nima Mikkel, and Ferris Miza. Silas Money, and Jordan Markeski. Bryce Morpeth, Emily Myers, David Newton, Alexandria Oliver, Chinedu Onyeke, Harry Owen, Christopher Parnell, Harold Patel,
Part Patel, Viral Patel, James Benoyer, Stephen Perry. Phuong Tien Phuong, Zachary Ramsey, Arjun Rangan, Dheeraj Ravia, Aditya Reddy, Vamsi Reddy. Varsha Reddy, Carter Reed. David Reel, Lauren Reed. Jackson Reynolds, Laura Rodriguez. Chandler Roundtree, Cesar Sabogal. Mark Schrade, Lorraine Seaman. Casey Ship, Margaret Sinclair.
Yunjin Song, Dan Spill III. Michael Stevens, Tyler Stolman. Nathaniel Taylor, Aditi Talkad. Joshua Thomas, Laura Thompson. Lily Tien, Rachel Visor. Brooke Vinson, Stephanie Wahab. Taylor Waite. Morgan Walker. Chase Worley. Amanda Weissman. Trevin Wilkes. James Arthur Williams III. Allison Withers. Alexandra Elise Zacco Daco Patterson. Jesse Zhang. Nathan Harris. Cyril Lukianov.
Daniel Oligood. Raimundo Bustos. Philip Cox. Nicholas Forrester. Emily Hammond. Rebecca Kuiper. Elizabeth Lockett. Keelan Passmore. Chloe Super. Elizabeth Wesley.
Raven Bryant. Karen Campbell. Leticia Cardoso. Madison Coleman. Asma Dowdy. Bria Davidson. Vincent Gonzalez. Chase Griffin. Cord Helmkin. Sri Rasmita Jala. Matthew King. Nicolette Lewis. John Lundeen. Maya Milton. Odez Ordu. Bria Alexis Peacock. Dino Romero. Richard Stallings. Justina Simonik. Giuseppe Tripodi. Okola Toe. Marshall Waller. Edna Wang.
Hannah Bowe. Bria Carithers. Yutong Dong. Jackson Hortenstein. Sachin Kothari. Mira Kuntawala. Samuel McPhee. Savannah McKenzie. Lindsay Morton. Akul Munjal. Hunter Palmer. Bhargav Patel. Mavish Sadiq. Daniel Sirkar. Kristen Walker. Brandon Christopher Wilson. Ibrahim Yusufu. Eden Whoopshed.
Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to present to you the doctors of the MCG class of 2021. Raise the roof. You can do better than that. Congratulations to all of you. In our profession, it has been a custom for more than 2,000 years that no one may be admitted to practice the art of medicine who has not first expressly taken upon himself or herself its obligations. Although the original language of the Hippocratic Oath is somewhat antiquated, we still find great meaning in this oath that has been slightly modified to better fit our contemporary world. Speaking the words of this oath marks a transition in our lives as it commemorates official entry into the profession with all of its obligations to care for those entrusted to us. I call upon the class of 2021, along with all physicians in the room who may choose to retake this oath, to now stand and join me in reciting the Hippocratic Oath. The text of the oath is printed in your program. Please stand. I do solemnly swear, by whatever I hold most sacred, that I will be loyal to the profession of medicine and just and generous to its members, that I will lead my life and practice my art in uprightness and honor, that into whatsoever home I shall enter, it shall be for the good of the sick and the well and to the utmost of my power, and that I will hold myself aloof from wrong and from corruption and from the tempting of others to vice, that I will exercise my art solely for the cure of my patients and the prevention of disease, and will give no drugs and perform no operation for a criminal purpose, and far less suggest such a thing, that whatsoever I shall see or hear of the lives of men and women, which is not fitting to be spoken, I will keep inviolably secret. These things I do promise, and in proportion as I am faithful to this oath, may happiness and good repute be ever mine, the opposite if I shall be forsworn. You may be seated. I would now like to bring forward the class president of the Augusta campus, the class of 21 class president, Susan Brands. Dr. Susan Brands will represent all of you at the Augusta University commencement. Dr. Keel will confer the MD degree to her as a representative of the class of 2021. To acknowledge her service as your president for the past 4 years, Dean Hess presented her with a medallion at the awards ceremony held at the Old Medical College of Georgia building for graduates this past Monday night. Please join me in thanking Dr. Brands. It gives me great pleasure to welcome Susan to the podium. Susan.
Hello, 2021. So excited to be here. I promised my mom I would actually write out my speech this time because apparently ad-libbing isn't my forte. But for those who don't know me, my name is Susan Brands, and it has been an absolute pleasure serving as class president for the incredible people you see in front of you today. The job has had its ups and downs, but it gave me the opportunity to get to know each of you, and for that reason, I wouldn't change any day of it. From the first conversation I had with the first person I met here, I felt so humbled by you guys every single day. When thinking back to what my role has really boiled down to, though, I think I've primarily just served as your hype man, always trying to make you guys love each other and get along. But you haven't always made that easy. This class is known for oftentimes having a very vocal mind of their own. From that first picture outside of Harrison, when everyone complained it was too cold, to the GQ survey, you guys have always stood up for yourselves. I did initially find this incredibly intimidating, but I now find it incredibly endearing. So in one last attempt to gas you guys up and bring everyone together, here are a couple reasons why I've loved getting to know you as a class. First and foremost, you all are the most exceptional group of human beings I've ever met. I remember telling my roommate in undergrad that I wasn't going to have any friends in medical school because they'd all be a bunch of boring type A pre-meds. After that first day of orientation, though, I knew I was grossly wrong. Each of you has such a powerful story to tell. You come from all walks of life, all backgrounds, all cultures. We have teachers, soldiers, nurses, mothers, fathers, first-generation U.S. citizens, scientists, dancers, artists, writers, musicians, and that's just skimming the surface. You're each such full people, full of unique experiences, talents, gifts, and backgrounds that make each of you so uniquely complete. Being able to learn beside each of you has been more humbling than I can put into words. Yet this class is so much more than just their backgrounds. What truly makes them special is the passion and vigor with which they pursue their goals. You question authority. You don't just accept an answer because someone tells you it's always been that way. You fight for what you care about, and you care about a lot, and you demand that your voices be heard. You don't sit still with your frustrations, but you speak up when you want something to change. You speak up when you hear or see something that you don't like, and you refuse to back down just because someone tells you that your opinion isn't welcome. Some would say this passionate outcrying of diverse voices with diverse opinions is the reason many of us got frustrated with each other at times, but I see it differently. I see it as wildly encouraging knowing that those diverse people with the courage to use their voices to speak up when others may not and defend what they care about are now the future of medicine. With that being said, I wish I could give you some tips for the future and a graduation card from my sister, an OBGYN and one of the main reasons I'm standing here today. She gave me some advice. She said, "Call me when you need to vent after a terrible shift and you want to quit. It will happen frequently, but you can do it. When you can't, I'll help." She also said to do a pelvic exam before ever consulting gyne, but that one isn't quite as relevant. But seeing as I cannot personally offer you guys any tips or advice since I'm joining alongside you on this next step of our journey, I'll just tell you what I hope for each of you. First, I hope you find someone you can call when you want to quit. If you already have that person, thank them every day and don't let them go. Second, I hope you never have to hear the words Lot 69 again or learn the Krebs cycle again. Third, I hope you never pronounce Renin like Renin. Fourth, I hope you remember when to put your books down and go have a drink after a hard day. Fifth, I hope you remember your priorities and never become like the dad in that Cats in the Cradle song. Sixth, I hope you go easy on yourselves. You're human beings, and human beings are prone to human error. Seventh, I hope you ask for help when you need it. Whether it's personally or for an opinion on a patient, I hope you never let pride win. Eighth, we're all going to forget a lot of the medical knowledge we gained over the past 4 years, if it's not already gone after fourth year, but I hope you never forget what we learned from each other. Try every day to show as much kindness as is in the pinky finger of Zola Francis. Lift up everyone around you like Daniel Embaum. Never accept mediocrity and always push for perfection like Jack Owen. Get involved in your community like Bria Peacock. Fight anyone who challenges you if it's in defense of the people or subjects you care about like Mira Kuntawala. If someone tells you that you can't wear leggings, demand answers or just simply ignore them like Nora Wad. Ninth, I hope you remember these past 4 years with pride, joy, and a little bit of nostalgia. We've accomplished so much together. We survived a curriculum that is apparently so rigorous we were the last class to complete it. We've studied together. We've cried together over tests that didn't end up really mattering that much. We've gone to happy hours together after those times we cried together over those tests. Some of us are even getting married together. But most importantly, we've become physicians together. Thank you so much to the administrators behind me who led us to this finish line. Thank you to the families, friends, and loved ones who have supported us along this journey. Thank you to whatever higher power you may believe in, because at least from my standpoint, I know a providential power is the only reason I'm here today. Thank you to my parents. While I didn't really mean to say that it's always been a pleasure on Monday, my gratitude for everything you've done for me leads me to a loss of words. Thank you to my sisters, Trisha and Erin, and my brothers, Bryce, Dakota, and Andy, for being my absolute best friends. Thank you to Carter Reed. Your kindness and optimism are a gift to the world, and I know I'm going to be a better physician and human being because of you. Finally, thank you to this group of people before me who have made the last 4 years unforgettable. I'm so excited to follow your careers and watch the incredible things you accomplish. Class of 2021, it has been an absolute honor. Congratulations.
Thank you so much, Dr. Brands. We now are proceeding to the portion of our program where we recognize the military service of many of our students. I'd like to call Dr. Pam Tipler, Associate Professor in the Department of Medicine, to come forward for the recognition of military service.
Numerous students have and continue to serve in the U.S. Armed Forces. Students in the class of 2021 who have prior or current military commitment, please stand and be recognized. And members of the stage party and audience who have served, please stand and also be recognized. Having served for 12 years in the Army, it has been my honor to be the military advisor for the HPSP students, or Health Professions Scholarship Program students, at MCG. It has been a blessing to know these students for the past 4 years. One of the core Army values is selfless service. These students decided to raise their right hand to serve their country. According to the Army Values website, selfless service is described in this way: put the welfare of the nation, the Army, and your subordinates before your own. Selfless service is larger than just one person. In serving your country, you are doing your duty loyally without thought of recognition or gain. The basic building block of selfless service is the commitment of each team member to go a little further, endure a little longer, and look a little closer to see how he or she can add to the effort. You rely on your brother or your sister, and they rely on you. Anyone who has served likely has thousands of examples of sacrifice, large and small. We don't talk about it, we just do it. Long hours away from family, moving away from family and making new extended families, staying up late, waking up early, pulling an extra shift because you know or hope that your buddy is going to do the same for you. Doing hard work for a long time with no end in sight because people are counting on you, just like you are counting on them. And of course, there is the ultimate sacrifice, that of a service member's life, which was always a possibility and much too often a reality. At this time, I would like to ask the following members of the graduating class to stand and to be recognized for your selfless service: David Reel and Christopher Parnell. There are 3 members of the Athens campus that are also graduating that are in the military, and that's Kelsey Garcia, Emily Strickland, and Nathan Harris. At this time, I ask all physicians who are serving or have served in the United States Armed Services to stand and be recognized as a group. And congratulations once again.
Thank you, Dr. Tipler, and to all those recognized for their service. It's now my pleasure to introduce Dr. Wayne Rentz, class of '72, who is the president of the Medical College of Georgia Alumni Association and also campus associate dean at the Southeast campus. Dr. Rentz.
Thank you, Dr. Miller. I know it's getting late. I've had my pen out and I've marked through a lot of this, but I would like to offer my congratulations on behalf of the Medical College of Georgia Alumni Association and all of its members and all of its past members, and congratulate you on your hooding in preparation for receiving your doctorate. A little bit about me. My personal journey with the medical college began here in Augusta at the University Hospital a long time before the current AU health system was even conceived of. My father was a junior medical student here when the car which he was driving, in which my mother was a passenger, was T-boned by a car full of nuns who I'm sure bore my mother no ill will. Fortunately, no one was seriously injured except my mother went into labor that day, and I was born at University Hospital a few weeks early. I made it here and I was thin. I have overcome that problem. My grandmother, my dad's mother, came to visit, and she unfortunately opined that I was an ugly baby. It got back to my mother, and it took her a while to get over that, but they later became very close. After my dad graduated from medical school here, he did a rotating internship and went back to his hometown, and like many other physicians after World War II, hung out his shingle. He joined an older physician and learned from him, and they taught each other as he practiced his art in that community. So I grew up seeing that skull and crossbones ring on his hand and watching him practice his art. When it came time for me to apply to medical school, I followed his lead and came to MCG. Best move ever made. After medical school, I trained in surgery and I've been privileged to practice surgery for a long time. I feel like the good Lord smiled on me when about 10 years ago I was offered a position as the Assistant Dean for Curriculum for a brand new Southeast Clinical campus. It gives me great pride and pleasure to have played a small role in your education. As I look out at this group, I feel good about the future of medicine. As my grandson once told me, it makes my heart happy. You are all now alumni of the medical college. Why is that important? Why is it important to support the Alumni Association? Because you are our word of mouth ambassadors. Our reputation depends on you. You're the corporate memory of the school. Your knowledge, experience, and input to the association and through it to the school will influence the course of the school. Your contributions to the school are not only invaluable, but necessary. As physicians, you'll be mentors and role models to many who follow your lead as they grow and mature. Lead wisely. Our Alumni Association was formed in 1891 with the mission of supporting the interests of the medical college, which it has done for 130 years. In addition to scholarships, the alumni supports faculty and recognition awards, regional meetings for alumni, CME events, campus visits, and class activities which begin with white coat freshman orientation and end with hooding today. As president of the Alumni Association, it's my pleasure to welcome you to the MCG Alumni Association class of 2021. The board remembers the days of first finishing medical school, so your first 4 years of dues are waived. After that, remember who brought you to the dance and support the association with your dues, membership, and personal involvement. We know that each of you will be an outstanding, compassionate, and empathetic physician who will represent our school. To help us ensure that each of our students continues to receive the superior education that you received, support us. Become involved in your national, state, and specialty societies to help provide leadership with some of the difficult problems that will be arising in medicine these days. And some final advice from an older surgeon who's been there, which I borrowed from a talk from Dr. Kelly McMasters, who's president of Southern Surgical Association. Remember, no matter how big your tractor is, it will get bogged down. When you get bogged down, quit spinning your wheels before you bog down to the axle. Ask for help and don't blame the tractor. When you see somebody else bogged down, give them a hand. And finally, as Dr. Fisher advised us earlier, be sure to make time for yourself and your family. Stay balanced in your life. You can't take care of others if you don't take care of yourself. Again, we congratulate you on achieving one of the most outstanding accomplishments and goals in your life. And we look forward to hearing great things from you, and we'll be listening. Thank you, and welcome to the Medical College of Georgia Alumni Association. And I will now turn this over to Dr. Tucker, our fourth-year class dean, for final remarks.
All right, I promise to be very, very brief because I know y'all are ready to go. So, on behalf of the regional campus deans from around the state and the class deans here in Augusta, we want to congratulate you. As I have said multiple times before, your class is the COVID class, has been met with just insurmountable adversity at every turn, and you've responded with grace, flexibility, and overwhelming resilience. Pulled from rotations? No problem. No away rotations? No big deal. Virtual interviews? Okay, we've got this. Another email about the GQ survey? That too. You did it all with smiles on your faces and not a word of complaint to me. Probably to Susan, but definitely not to me. We are proud of you, we love you, and we know you will do great things. Congratulations, class of 2021. We are thrilled to have you join the ranks of this noble profession, and I am honored to call all of you my newest colleagues. Deans, faculty, staff, and distinguished guests, this concludes the hooding ceremony for the 185th graduating class of the Medical College of Georgia. Students and families, please remain in your seats until the stage party and faculty have completed the recessional, at which point, try to get out of here in an orderly fashion. Please refrain from celebrating too much until you have exited the building. Thank you.